Can you take a quick moment and rate and review Marijuana Today Daily on whichever app or website you get your podcasts from? It's super helpful in helping us grow our audience. Thanks so much. This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our exclusive multi-state cannabis operator sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top vertically integrated medical and wellness cannabis operators, with 57 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. You can learn more about Curaleaf over at curaleaf.com, with Curaleaf spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, June 16th, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 952 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We start off the day's news in Colorado, where yesterday the state Senate passed a piece of legal marijuana social equity legislation that was approved through the state house last week, meaning the bill now heads to the desk of Governor Jared Polis, who is expected to sign it into law. The legislation, sponsored by State Representative James Coleman, won the day yesterday in the state Senate by a count of 24-9 and will, once made into law, codify what it means exactly to be a social equity applicant. We covered this last week as the bill was in process and actually interviewed Representative Coleman on Friday while he was on the floor of the House for an interview of our show, The Weed Wonks. You can listen to that over at weedwonks.com. It's our most recent episode. Representative Coleman's bill defines social equity applicants as people who have lived for a certain amount of time in an economically depressed area, someone with a marijuana conviction on their record, or someone with a direct relative with a cannabis charge, or if their income is below a set amount. As Kyle Yeager has it over at his story at Marijuana Moments, the bill will also give Governor Polis an easier path towards granting pardons to people for past marijuana crimes. Not a bad one to read in full today. John Schroyer over Marijuana Business Daily has our second story on the day, with a look at an ongoing court case in California revolving around the ability of legal marijuana companies to deliver to customers throughout the state, even in towns and cities that wish to ban the practice. That's the central dispute in this trial, which was originally scheduled for April, but was pushed back to July. There's a lot riding on this one, as a decision in the wrong way would cut deeply into California cannabis businesses that utilize delivery and the ability of consumers to access legal product. And as John's story has it, it's not super clear how the chips might fall. John talks to two legal experts, Hillary Bricken, who writes over at the Canalog blog, and my friend Khurshid Khoja, who together offer up split opinions on the strength of the case by the cities and towns that wish to block cannabis delivery. Maybe not a bad story to also read in full, given what's at stake here and the possible ramifications it could have in other states outside California. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Kyle's back with a top story bookend with an update on how things are progressing down in the U.S. Virgin Islands for a piece of legalization legislation being pushed by Governor Albert Bryan Jr. On Friday, legislators held a hearing to discuss the proposed bill, with the island's police department simply saying that its officers would uphold whatever laws are on the books. If passed into law, the legislation would set up a taxed and regulated sales program and automatically expunge past marijuana crimes, though it would ban home grow for strictly adult use reasons, with medical and religious exemptions to be granted. Tax revenue would be generated from the sale of marijuana, as tourists would be free to purchase up to 7 grams of cannabis per day, which is more than enough for any one person on vacation this side of Snoop Dogg or Mike Tyson. The next legislative action on the bill comes at the end of the month following public hearings. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the nation's top multi-state cannabis operators with 53 local dispensaries, 15 cultivation sites, and 24 processing facilities operating in 17 states. Thankfully, Curaleaf has been deemed a necessary service in all the states that it has operations in as we settle into the new normal of the coronavirus pandemic, and everyone at the company has been working hard to change up their operations to make it safe as possible for their customers, patients, and employees. You can open up Curaleaf.com for a state-by-state listing of how each Curaleaf store is handling sales, as different rules and regulations apply depending on locality. But in the shops where it's possible, Curaleaf now offers a special waiting system that lets you sit in your car until it's time to order. One more time, you can read all about Curaleaf's response to the coronavirus over at curaleaf.com, spelled Curaleaf. Big thanks to everyone at Curaleaf for helping us keep the news lights running. All right, time for the Blitz. We have some numbers out of Colorado where the state's Department of Revenue is reporting that legal marijuana sales in April fell 7.8% from March's totals to land at just under $149 million, a dip from March's figure of $161 million. That dip from April to March is something we've actually seen in past years, but this year's fall off was particularly sharp, which I guess should not be surprising given the coronavirus pandemic closings and general disruption. Arkansas state authorities also just dropped some sales figures for their medical marijuana program, which started up back in May of 2019. According to the numbers from the Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration, the state's 22 dispensaries sold 14,714 pounds of cannabis, generating $92 million in sales along the way. Marijuana consumer goods company Dixie Brands just released its latest financial results for the year 2019, bringing in a touch over $11 million in revenue, up from $5.7 million in 2018, which played out to gross profits of $4.5 million and a net loss of $20.1 million. Dixie says it has $892,000 cash on hand and a notes payable of $2.6 million. Cision PR Newswire has all the rest of the released details here if you want them. Deb Borchardt over Green Market Report has another set of financials, this time for Forefront Ventures, which I should say our friend Chris Crane, a regular and host of our weekly show Marijuana Today, is a founder and president of. I also used to work for Forefront before starting up MJ Today Media. According to Deb's piece, Forefront said its 2019 revenues grew to $31 million, up from just $3 million the previous year. That stacks up on a total net loss for 2019 of $180 million, with $146 million attributed to an impairment charge Forefront took as part of its acquisition of the Cannabis Corporation. Swing over to Green Market Report if you want more on this one. Multi-state cannabis operator iAnthus says it does not expect to make a scheduled interest payment on a loan that is due June 30th, the second time it's had to do so. iAnthus has been hit hard over the last year or so with troubled financials and the resignation of CEO Hadley Ford in April following a company investigation over loans he took out. The last payment for iAnthus was due in March and was for $4.4 million. As Marijuana Business Daily has it, this could lead to iAnthus losing its ability to trade as a stock on the Canadian Securities Exchange, where it currently carries the symbol IAN. Former professional basketball player and current industry titan Al Harrington is launching a new cannabis business incubator that he says will help create 100 new Black marijuana millionaire entrepreneurs. Harris's company Viola Brands is backing the new initiative, having secured $16 million in Series A funding last fall. CNBC has the exclusive take on this. Not a bad story to read in full. We end today's news with a story out of Missouri, where state regulators have given the go-ahead to licensed cultivator Belief Medical to start growing cannabis, putting the state on track to start sales towards the end of the year. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Curaleaf, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.